Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. I'm really very sorry for starting the class late, almost by 13 minutes, but there was some technical issue. Actually, the camera was not working, due to which it took much long to start with the session. But I guess now I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. Just let me know in the comment section if I'm audible, everything is good, fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. And I can assure you guys, as always, this session is again really very important for you all, and many questions can be expected from today's session as well. और आज का जो सेशन है उसका इंपॉर्टेंस सिर्फ और सिर्फ फेज 1 के लिए नहीं, बट फेज 2 के लिए भी काफी इंपॉर्टेंट सेशन है. एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर दैट यू आर गोइंग टू एंजॉय द डिस्कशन. बट बिफोर वी स्टार्ट, मे आई हैव अ रिप्लाई in the comment section? Are we good to go? May I have a reply in the comment section, guys? Are we good to go, so that we can begin? I think I'm audible. Akash, Shruti, may I have a reply, please? So quickly give me a reply in the comment section. I'm still waiting. Quickly reply if I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much. So let's begin the discussion. So today, before I start the discussion, first thing from where I would like to start my discussion is, today what we are going to do is, today we will be discussing one of the important news which is not directly presented by RBI, but yes, it is related to the financial sector only. And if you want to download the PDF of this session, and trust me, the PDF of this session is going to be really very important, because many important content as well as the data are going to be discussed in today's session. So PDF can be downloaded from the given Telegram channel, which is Economics by Madhav Sir, or you can scan the code directly to reach. चलो, so आज का जो हमारा डिस्कशन है वो किसके अराउंड है, मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक आइडिया दे दूं. Guys, I hope you must have heard about a term RRBs, है ना? You must have heard about the term RRB. So my question over here is, under the one state one RRB plan, the number of regional rural banks will be consolidated from 43 to what? तो RRBs का जो नंबर है, जो काउंट है, उसे अब डिक्रीज किया जाएगा from 43 to how many RRBs? And if I talk about the consolidation, this consolidation has been announced, and this consolidation will be implemented from 1st of May 2025. This consolidation is going to be implemented from 1st of May 2025. Can you please let me know in the comment section? Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct, sir. It will be consolidated into 28 RRBs. जब आपने ये न्यूज पढ़ी होगी, इसके अराउंड दो चार चीजें आपने और जरूर पढ़ी होंगी, एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द कैंडिडेट्स हु आर वाचिंग दिस सेशन, दे हैव ऑलरेडी गॉन थ्रू विद दिस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज. Sir, अगर ऐसा है, if we have already gone through with this particular news, then why you are discussing this news? So please pay attention, guys, what all things we are going to understand and what kind of questions can be asked from this particular topic. See, the movement RRBs are in news, and it's a, I would say, pretty big news related to RRBs. So firstly, there was a master direction given by RBI related to RRBs. Do you remember? We have discussed that. And now secondly, there is a news related to the amalgamation or merger of RRBs. So two news back to back, and that too most important news of the year related to RRBs is there. That means there is a huge probability that these questions will be asked, or RRB is going to be a centric target for the examiner. अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि अगर RRB से एग्जामिनर क्वेश्चन बनाएगा तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस विल बी फ्रेम्ड. अगर हम बात करें फेज 1 की, तो फेज 1 में जो क्वेश्चन बनेंगे दैट विल बी डेटा रिलेटेड, कि सर इससे पहले कभी मर्जर हुआ या नहीं, अगर हुआ था तो कितने बैंक्स थे, कितने बैंक से कम होकर कितने हुए, तो डेटा रिलेटेड, कितने बैंक्स हैं, कौन कौन सी स्टेट्स में बैंक्स है, कितनी स्टेट्स के बैंक्स मर्ज होने वाले. सो डेटा रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस विल बी फ्रेम्ड इन द फेज 1 एग्जामिनेशन. फेज 2 की अगर मैं बात करूं, तो फेज 2 में ऑब्वियसली यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट I would say a paragraph based question. एक पैराग्राफ दिया होगा फॉर RRBs, और उससे रिलेटेड आपसे कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे इन द 2 मार्कर फॉर्मेट, जहां पे एग्जामिनर विल ट्राई टू जज, ट्राई टू चेक हाउ मच यू नो इन डेप्थ अबाउट द RRB सिनेरियो इन द कंट्री. और दूसरा जो पॉइंट है, अगर RBI ने चाहा, और RBI इज इन अ thought process to check your knowledge regarding the current scenario of RRBs, and there could be a question, a descriptive question on RRBs. A descriptive question on RRBs will not only and only related to the amalgamation. It will be, you can expect an overall general questioning on RRB. For example, discuss the status of RRBs in India. Simple. Discuss the status of RRBs in India. If this kind of question is asked, where RBI wants to know the status of RRBs in India, that means you need to talk about what is RRB. Then you need to talk about what are the reasons due to which RRB was set up. Along with the reasons, you need to talk about what were the issues which are and were prevailing with RRBs. What was the reasoning behind the merger of RRBs? Then what is the latest news related to the merger? What is the latest news related to the master direction for RRBs? That could be related to CAR, it could be related to interest rate decisions, it could be related to the day-to-day operations of RRBs. So keeping all these areas in mind, as always, I will be discussing this question from 0 to advanced, so that if any question related to RRB is asked in the examination, you will be in a position to answer it. I hope the context is clear, the stage is set. If you all are ready and you want me to start with the discussion now, just give me yes sir. Just give me yes sir. अगर आपको ये पता चल गया कैसे ये flow होगा पूरे का पूरा session, why we are going to flow it in this manner, and what is going to be the benefit of that flow. So the benefit is it can be asked in both the phases, and you will be in a position to answer the question in both the phases. And when you clear phase 2, RRB related question is expected in interview as well. So this is going to help you in your entire journey. So this is really very important. So without wasting much time, let's start the discussion. So what will be the flow of this discussion? First, we'll discuss about RRBs, static discussion, when RRBs were set up, on the recommendation of which committee RRBs were set up, how many times in the past amalgamation is done, what was the objective behind setting up of RRBs, what are the problems related to RRBs, what are the advantages of RRBs over commercial banks. We'll discuss that. Then we jump and then we come to the current news. Okay, so please pay attention. So the first thing from where I'm going to start is from where I'm going to open this particular news is the news which is going on in the market, that one state, one RRB. One state, one RRB will now become a reality. So it's not the first time that this one state, one RRB is discussed. It was discussed earlier as well, but now there is a announcement that yes, one state, one RRB is going to become a reality, which means 15 regional rural banks across 11 states. Across 11 states, they are going to be consolidated so that we can improve the operational efficiency as well as cost rationalization of RRB. So if I talk about these 11 states, obviously there's no need to memorize the name of these 11 states, but these 11 states are those states which possess more than one RRB operating in their concerned state, and now more than one RRBs operating in these states will be merged into one by the name of the state itself. For example, Andhra Pradesh Regional Rural Bank or Andhra Pradesh Gramin Bank, Assam Gramin Bank, Punjab Gramin Bank. In this manner, by the name of the state, Andhra Pradesh Gramin Bank, Uttar Pradesh Gramin Bank, West Bengal Gramin Bank, Gujarat Gramin Bank, Bihar Gramin Bank. In this format, the banks which are operating in these states, they will be merged into one, and a single common name will be given to them, and that will be on the name of the state. Thik? We'll discuss the current news, but let's first discuss what are RRBs. Guys, we all know that RRBs were set up back in 1975. To be very precise, first RRB was set up on 2nd of October 1975 on the I would say on the eve of or on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, and the name of the first RRB was Pratham Gramin Bank, and the sponsor bank was none other than Syndicate Bank. And if I talk about the headquarter of Pratham Gramin Bank, so the headquarter of Pratham Gramin Bank was in Moradabad, UP. But you know what? RRB Act was passed in 1976. But what I'm saying is, first RRB was set up on 2nd of October 1975. How is it possible? Sir, it is possible when Parliament is not in session in that particular timeline. President of India has the power to pass an ordinance. An ordinance is nothing but it is a temporary law, and which is applicable, which is effective as a law in the country until the next parliament session is started. So President of India passed the ordinance, and this ordinance was passed on 26th of September 1975. So under this ordinance, First Grameen Bank was set up on 2nd of October 1975 under the ordinance which was passed on 26th of September 1975. Later on, Parliament came into session, and then RRB Act was passed, that is RRB Bill was passed, and it became Act in 1976. Remember that this RRB Act was passed on the recommendation of Narasimhan Committee on Rural Credit. बहुत बार ना दिमाग में ये क्वेश्चन आता है और पूछा भी जाता है, स्पेशली इन द इंटरव्यूज, आखिरकार आरआरबीज को क्यों बनाया गया? सी बिफोर आरआरबीज 1972 प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग टर्म वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. उससे पहले अगर हम देखें एक्चुअली क्या था, व्हेन इंडिया गॉट इंडिपेंडेंस, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया रियलाइज्ड दैट इंडियन बैंकिंग सेक्टर is not mass oriented. In India का जो banking sector है, it is not mass oriented. It was not providing services to the masses. Rather, the banking sector was predominant by the private players, and they were operating to earn profit, and they were providing the banking services only and only to the elite classes, industrialists, as well as the high net worth individuals, companies, corporates. The moment government and as well as RBI realized that Indian banking system is not mass oriented, and to make it mass oriented, first I would say decision was priority sector lending, which came into which was implemented in 1972, or which came into discussion in 1972. अब प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग के बाद एक प्रॉब्लम और आई कि सर जो हमारे इंडिया के बैंक्स हैं, प्राइवेट बैंक्स हैं, वो प्राइवेट बैंक्स दे आर मेजरली ऑपरेटिंग इन द अर्बन एरियाज, एंड दे डोंट वांट to open up their branches in the rural areas because of, I would say, the obvious reason, that is low profit capacity or low earning capacity from those rural areas, due to which in 1969 government of India has nationalized private banks. 14 private banks were nationalized, and these 14 banks, their ownership was transferred from private to government. Then the next point is priority sector lending. It came into existence in 1972, and in the same race in 1975-76 RRBs were set up. What was the logic behind setting up RRBs? Logic क्या था? बड़ा simple था कि sir, we should set up a separate bank for the rural areas. Separate bank means the banks who are allowed to operate in the rural areas only, or who are targeted to earn profit to survive from the rural area operations only. So once I'm very clear that I cannot open my branch in the urban areas, and if I want to survive, if I want to live, if I want to earn, I should be operating and I should be providing my services in the rural areas only. That was the first thing. Second thing was, it was thought that if we are setting up RRBs, RRBs will be set up with a decent infrastructure, which is appropriate enough to provide the banking services. Along with that, we should hire the employees from the local areas itself, from the rural areas itself, so that if we are paying them less salary in comparison to the other commercial banks, it will be fine. Because if you get a job in rural area and you belong to that rural area where your expense is already low, so it's better to stay in the rural area even with the low salaries, rather than shifting to cities or metro cities with maybe 10 or 20% excess salary. That is not effective. So thought process was this, that we will come up with a bank with low operational cost due to decent infrastructure, low salaries. Appointment will be done from the local areas only, from the rural areas only. So the aim was basically to come up with a bank with low operational cost. But unfortunately, this aim was not real. I would say this aim did not turn into reality. When RRBs were set up, we have witnessed that the salaries of RRB employees were in some states is even more than the salaries of uh, I would say the commercial bank employees. I'm comparing Grameen Bank to your IBPS PO banks, or I would say SBI, PNB, or Punjab and Sindh Bank. So if you're working in PNB or SBI as a probationary officer and you are working in an RRB as a probationary officer, technically, as per the aim, salary should be different, but we have witnessed that either the salaries are at par, or even we have witnessed that the salary of RRB employees is higher than that of the commercial banks. तो भैया आपने सोचा था कि ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट कम रखेंगे ताकि अगर ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट कम है, what was the target? The target was if operational cost is less, that means we can provide better services to the rural public at low lending rates. यही तो टारगेट था कि लो lending rates पे, यानी कि लोन दे लेकिन वो भी कम रेट्स पे दे, because the rural public as well as the weaker section of the public in the rural areas, they can also enjoy, they can also have the benefits of the banking sector. But unfortunately operational cost high हो गई, lending rates low रहे या रखने पड़े because of the aim, जिसकी वजह से banks they end up into the situation of loss. And because of this immense loss in the past, RRBs have been merged from time to time just to increase their efficiency as well as to decrease their operational cost. Clear हुई बात? अब पढ़ लेते हैं. This is the entire structure of RRBs. So RRBs were set up basically to provide credit to the rural economy by providing development for the agriculture, trade, commerce, industry, as well as the productivity. These banks, they basically, pay attention, these banks, they basically aims to enhance the accessibility of banking services for the rural and agriculture communities while fostering rural development. So the main target was rural development by providing credit facility to the rural as well as agriculture communities. Now, moving on to the next point. The next point says, what is the current structure? The current structure says, in India, we have 43 RRBs which are operating as of now in 26 states and 3 union territories. So we have 43 RRBs operating in 26 states and 3 union territories with a total number of branch of around 22,000. And if I talk about the scheduled commercial banks, which all are operating as a sponsored bank, they are 12. Now you must be wondering, so what is the meaning of this sponsor bank? जब ये RRBs को बनाया गया और RRBs को ये बनाया गया या फिर जब इनका एम रखा गया कि इन बैंक्स का जो ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट है that will be low, what was the aim? So the aim was we will keep the operational cost of these banks pretty low, and these banks, they will provide loan to the public at low lending rates, and even they will provide deposit facility to the public at a higher rate of interest in comparison to the scheduled commercial banks in the same areas. So it's quite obvious these banks, they are not going to make much profit. It's quite obvious that they are not going to make much profit, and you can only overcome the huge potential of loss by decreasing your operational cost. And that is the reason when RRBs were set up, it was said that center government and state government are going to be the investor. Center government invested 15%, state government invested 15%, center government invested 50%, but the sponsored bank was given a responsibility to invest 35%, and sponsor banks are the banks which are actually responsible for managing the RRBs on day-to-day basis. Center government ने कहा हम पैसे लगा सकते हैं, state government ने कहा we can also invest the funds, लेकिन we don't know how to run a bank and we don't want to get in that format of running the bank. So let's call the third party, that is a sponsor bank. Sponsor bank will also invest in the bank and they will be responsible for managing and running the banks on day-to-day basis. So sponsor banks, any scheduled commercial bank was allowed to become a sponsor bank, but it's quite obvious no private bank will get into this loss-making fortune, or no foreign bank will get into this particular race. Obviously, public sector banks, they were not willing, but yes, they were forced by the government to become or to be a sponsor bank, and these public sector banks, government-owned banks, are the sponsor banks of these RRBs. And in total, 43 RRBs, they have 12 scheduled commercial banks who are operating as a sponsor bank. So this is the criteria: center government, sponsor bank, as well as state government. You know what? One point is really very important over here. What are the functions of sponsor bank? Sponsor bank is responsible for the management of RRBs. That means day-to-day management. Even RRBs, when they open up, they need to, if they want to manage their cash, or I would say overnight cash management, overnight cash settlement, which a scheduled commercial bank can easily do with RBI. So RRBs, they are allowed that for the first 5 years, you will be managing your cash with the sponsor bank, and after that you can manage directly with RBI. Later, the next point is sponsor banks, they are also responsible for the recruitment and training of the employees, of the RRBs, that is regional rural banks. So these are the facilities, these are the operations which are ought to be performed by. These are the services which are ought to be performed by whom? So these are the services which are ought to be performed by sponsor bank. Got it, guys? Okay, so if I talk about the regional rural banks, so the focus of regional rural bank in these areas is basically to reduce the economic disparity between urban and rural population. So in order to decrease the disparity, in order to decrease the exploitation of rural public, which is done by the local money lenders in the rural area, so in order to escape the rural public from all these exploitations, RRBs were introduced, which will obviously decrease the urban and rural disparity, the urban and rural inequality. Now, moving on to the next point. What were the objectives behind setting up RRBs? So the first objective was to provide loan not only to the small but also to the marginal farmers. So we all know that what is marginal farmer, what is small farmer. So marginal small farmers will be provided loan by RRB. So the main objective is to provide credit and banking facility to the small and marginal farmers, as well as to the agriculture laborers, small artisans, entrepreneurs in the rural areas. This is first. RRBs, they were conceptualized to combine local feel and familiarities of rural problem characteristics of cooperatives with professionalism and large resource base of, this is very important. As I said earlier, कि आरआरबी को बनाया इस तरह से गया था कि अगर हम लोकल स्टाफ हायर करेंगे तो द लोकल स्टाफ दे विल बी वेरी वेल अवेयर ऑफ द करंट सिनेरियो इन द रूरल एरियाज, एंड इफ दे आर अवेयर ऑफ द करंट सिनेरियो इन द रूरल एरियाज दे कैन help the public in a better manner, and this was the basic objective behind setting up the RRBs. RRBs were established to develop banking system in rural areas, that is for agriculture sector, commerce, industry and other credit facility, and RRB also cater the scattered population that demands smaller ticket of loan, as well as all those population which are not capable enough to borrow the loan from the commercial banks due to their strict operational norms, which can be liberalized in case of RRBs, and RRBs can provide them loan in a better manner. Now, sir, public sector banks are also owned by Government of India. RRBs, they are also owned by Government of India. So what is the difference between RRBs and public sector banks? See, if I talk about the ownership is absolutely clear that yes, both the banks, they are owned by government, but public sector banks, they are full-fledged. Public sector banks, they are full-fledged profitable banks. They are full-fledged profitable banks. But if I talk about the RRBs, so RRBs technically as per their balance sheet, they are commercial banks. As per their balance sheet, they are commercial bank means they are profitable banks, but the profit which they are trying to earn over their balance sheet, which they are expecting to earn over their balance sheet, is not their ultimate aim. Their ultimate aim is to provide better banking services, better I would say financial services to the rural public. Actually में होता क्या है, RRB ने पब्लिक से डिपॉजिट लिया at rate of interest, let's say, I'm just taking an example, 6%. RRB ने loan दिया to the public, and let's say the lending is done at 8% per annum. But जब balance sheet में लिखेंगे, we will be writing it at 10%. When balance sheet में लिखेंगे, we will be writing it at 4%. तो balance sheet में we will decrease the rate of interest in comparison to the actual one. We will increase the lending rates in comparison to the actual one. And this gap, ये जो 2% का मैंने example में gap लिया, this 2% gap is basically, you can say it is basically provided by the government. It is basically provided by the government. It's not a subsidy. It's not a subsidy, I would say. It is a support which is provided by the government. It is a capitalization which is done by the government to provide better better as well as low cost services to the rural public. But on the other side, in the balance sheet or in the profit and loss statement or in the cash flow statement, the bank will look as a commercial bank. Bank will look as a commercial bank. This is the point which you need to remember. Next point. Sir, RRBs are a new form of scheduled commercial banks which are backed by strong commercial banks. So this is the first difference. Public sector banks, they are not backed by any other commercial bank, but yes, RRBs, they are backed by commercial banks. Each RRB is operated within a certain limit only. So what is the limit? You know what? One RRB can operate in one state only. Why one RRB can operate in one state only? We cannot have a multi-state RRB. The reason is 15% of investment is done by state government. So if the 15% is invested by Punjab government, then Punjab government will not allow their RRB to open a branch in Haryana and provide better low cost services to the Haryana public, and the cost against that low cost service which is provided to the public will not be bared by Punjab government. It is supposed to be bared by Haryana government. So that is the reason one RRB operates in one state only, and predominantly it holds its majority branches in rural areas only. Branches in rural areas only. But on the other side, one state can have more than earlier, not today. Today the merger has been announced, but earlier one state can easily have more than one RRBs. How we can have more than one RRB? Center and state is same, but due to the different sponsor banks, the number of RRBs in a particular state will increase. Remember that. So regional rural banks in India, they provide banking facilities to the small marginal farmers, artisans in rural areas, but public sector banks, they provide services not only in rural but in the commercial area, in the urban areas as well. As their motive is to earn profit, their motive is to promote the economy, their motive is to promote the banking sector in the country. RRBs, they reduce regional imbalances. RRBs, they reduce regional imbalances by checking the outflow of rural deposit to urban areas. This will increase employment generation in the rural area. So if savings in rural areas increases, as per the Keynes law, if saving increases, it will result in increase in investment, and whenever the investment increases, it results in increase in productivity as well as output of the nation, which will undoubtedly increase the employment opportunities. So अगर rural areas की savings rural areas में invest होनी शुरू हो गई, कैसे? मैं rural area में, I am residing in rural area, I have deposited my funds in a RRB, in a deposit account, and from the same RRB, someone has borrowed loan in the rural area to set up an industry. So that industry is going to provide employment opportunities to the rural public itself. So this is how the rural saving is generating employment for the rural public itself. RRBs, they provide 75% of their ANBC, 75% of their ANBC as priority sector lending, which is obviously promoting the financial inclusion as well as promoting the beneficial outcome for the weaker sections of the society. अब अगला पॉइंट है कि सर क्या ये amalgamation बहुत नया है या it is a very I would say surprising news with in relation to RRBs? The answer is no. It's not anything which is very surprising with respect to RRBs, because you set up a bank with a motive of low operational cost, with a motive of low lending rates, with a motive of high rate of interest, but you cannot achieve low operating cost operations, due to which your losses increased, and due to the increase in losses, it's obviously, whether it is a government, it will be tough to survive. It will be always be tough to run a company which is a loss making company. So it's not the first time that the amalgamation has been announced. It is in the history of RRBs. If I show you the entire list, please pay attention. You are going to enjoy this. This is the official list which I have taken from the NABARD website. In 1975, 6 RRBs were set up. This count increased to 85 in 1980. Then this count increased to 1985 and this count increased to 188 in 1985. this count was 196 in 1990, 1995 में भी 196, 2000 में भी 196. Are you getting this point? देखो जरा ध्यान से, कहीं नहीं मिलेगी ये लिस्ट. ये लिस्ट काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, ध्यान देना. ये लिस्ट क्या कह रही है कि सर आरआरबीज का जो काउंट है वो 6 से इंक्रीज होकर कितना हुआ था 1996. तो आरआरबीज 6 थे कब? इन 1976, सॉरी 1975. फिर 80 में 85 हो गए, 1985 में 188 हो गए, 1990 के बाद द काउंट वाज 196 ओनली. फिर आई जी नरसिम्हन कमेटी. नरसिम्हन कमेटी ने पहले रिकमेंड भी किया था आरआरबीज के सेटअप को. फिर नरसिम्हन कमेटी ने 1998 में कहा कि जो आरआरबीज है उनका एनपीए भी बढ़ रहा है बिकॉज low repayment capacity of the borrowers who have borrowed the funds in the rural areas. So in that particular scenario, RRBs were not only witnessing loss due to their high operational cost in comparison to their spread or NIM, but also they were witnessing huge losses due to huge value of loan turned into NPA. So in सारी चीजों को देखते हुए there was a recommendation that let's now merge the banks. If we have 20 loss-making banks, let's combine them into one. Their capital will increase, their exposure to the market will increase, their operational cost will decrease, their branch expenditures will decrease, and keeping that in mind, amalgamation was started. So amalgamation was started after 2005. Actually, the amalgamation began, and in 2000, after 2005, the count dropped down to 133. The count dropped down to 133 in 2016. Then the count dropped down to 82 in 2011. This is not the final count. Then again after 2011, second phase of amalgamation was initiated. So in the second phase of amalgamation, this count was decreased to 56. This count was decreased to 56, and in the third phase of amalgamation, the count was decreased to 43. अब आप सोचते हैं कि आपको ये सब याद करना है? नहीं, what you need to remember is बस आपको इतना ही याद करना है कि phase 1 में 2005 से 2011 196 to 182. Remember this. Phase 2 2011 से 2016 56 to 82. Then we have 2018-19 में स्टार्ट हुआ, 21-22-23 तक गया. तो ये जो काउंट था इट हैज ड्रॉप डाउन फ्रॉम 56 टू 43. फ्रॉम 56 टू 43. बस यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस. लेकिन ये मैंने आपको बस एक फ्लो दे दिया सो दैट यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि जितनी तेजी से आरआरबी सेटअप हुए उतनी ही तेजी से आरआरबी क्लोज डाउन भी हुए और मर्ज भी हुए बिकॉज ऑफ देयर लॉस मेकिंग सिनेरियोस. बिकॉज ऑफ देयर लॉस मेकिंग सिनेरियोज. अब इसमें एक चीज समझिएगा, जो मैंने कहा रिकमेंडेशन दैट वाज अ इनफॉर्मल रिकमेंडेशन व्हिच वाज गिवन बाय द नरसिम्हन कमेटी, बट जो फॉर्मल रिकमेंडेशन आया था रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया इन 2011 आफ्टर द रिकमेंडेशंस इन 1998 नरसिम्हन कमेटी सेकंड a separate committee was set up under the chairmanship of Dr. V.S. Vyas. और Dr. V.S. Vyas ने कहा कि बैंक्स जो है आरआरबी जो है दे आर witnessing huge losses. It is better that we should merge them in order to improve the credit system in the country, as well as it would be an alternative to decrease, or it could be a good alternative to decrease their operational costs. So Dr. V.S. Vyas, the name of the committee was Flow Credit to Agriculture and Related Activities from the Banking System. And finally in year 2005 पूरे का पूरा स्ट्रक्चर अनाउंस कर दिया that on the basis of this consolidation process the merger or amalgamation of the RRBs will be done, which led to the decrease of count from 196 to 82, 82 to 56, 56 to 43. So this is how the amalgamation has been done in the past. Clear हो गया जी? समझ आ गया? Next point. बहुत बार काफी बार ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है, सर who is the regulator of RRBs? If this question is asked कि RRB का regulator कौन है, तो आप क्या आंसर देंगे? The regulator of RRBs is none other than RBI. But who is the supervisor who looks after the day-to-day operations of the RRBs? Then your answer would be NABARD. तो ये दोनों terms याद रखिएगा. RBI under the Banking Regulation Act 1949 possess the power to inspect and supervise commercial banks. RBI is overreaching regulator of the entire banking system. तो RBI जो है, it is the regulator of the entire banking system. लेकिन NABARD, in this case NABARD, so NABARD functions as a supervisor of rural financial institutions, not only for RRBs but also for cooperative, not only for RRBs but also for the cooperative banks which are operating in the rural areas. तो supervisor कौन हुआ? NABARD. और अगर हमसे कोई पूछेगा regulator कौन है, so regulator of the RRBs is none other than RBI. Regulator is none other than RBI. Moving on to the next point, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ध्यान से सुनना. अगला क्वेश्चन कहता है what are the functions? What are the functions of regional rural banks? थोड़ा डेप्थ में जाके functions डिस्कस करूंगा. प्लीज पे अटेंशन. I'll discuss each and every function with you. So basic function, it's a bank. तो बैंक है तो इसका ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शन तो है ही, एक्सेप्ट डिपॉजिट्स, प्रोवाइड लोन. ठीक है सर. This is performed by, I would say, all the banks, and not only banks, these functions are even performed by the NBFCs. RRBs, they provide various banking facilities to the rural and urban areas, and these various banking facilities which are provided in the rural and semi-urban areas, it is basically to counter, or it is basically to decrease the disparity among rural and urban. The main function of RRB is to disperse. क्वेश्चन आ गया फेज वन का. क्वेश्चन आ गया फेज वन का. द मेन फंक्शन ऑफ आरआरबी इज टू डिस्पर्स wages under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is Manrega, as well as Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana worker and distribution of pensions. तो अगली बार अगर हमसे कोई पूछेगा wages of Manrega are distributed by which bank? Answer is RRBs. Wages to the workers under Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana distributed by RRBs. Pension distribution is done by RRBs again. Next point, RRBs, they provide para-banking facilities. Para-banking means along with banking, traditional function, it provide other functionings as well, or other functions as well. For example, locker facility, debit and credit card, mobile banking, internet banking, and UPI services. They provide basic banking needs to the development of agriculture, trade, commerce. This is fine. And it provides facilities to the agriculture, laborers, even the landless laborers, artisans, as well as the small entrepreneurs, so that they can set up their production units. Very important. फिर से मार्क कर लो, यहां से फिर क्वेश्चन बनेगा इन योर फेज 2 पैराग्राफ फॉर्मेट. क्वेश्चन जो आएगा 2 मार्कर क्वेश्चन, वो यहां से आने के पूरे चांसेस है. दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द चेयरमैन ऑफ आरआरबी. क्वेश्चन आएगा कि हु अपॉइंट्स द चेयरमैन ऑफ आरआरबी. Each regional rural bank has a separate chairman under the provision of section 11 of RBI Act 1976. Chairman of the RRB is appointed by government. No. So chairman of the RRB is appointed by the sponsor bank of the respective RRB. With consultation with NABARD, the sponsor bank appoints the chairman of RRBs. But there are no guidelines for the selection of chairman. तो किस बेसिस पे सिलेक्शन होगी ये नहीं बताया, लेकिन ये बहुत क्लियरली बता दिया कि who will be appointing the chairman of RRBs. So chairman of RRBs will not be appointed by the government, but the chairman of RRBs will be appointed by sponsor bank, and this appointment will be done in consultation with NABARD. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear till this point, guys? If it is clear, just give me yes sir. Is it clear? Sir, in mergers का employment पे भी we'll talk about that. Fake mail will discuss कि mergers का employment पे क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Even we'll discuss कि vacancies पे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा. In the end, I'll answer these 2 questions. So, can the amalgamation of RRBs led to the expansion of unorganized sector? नहीं. Merger हो रहा है, but उस merger से aim is not to decrease the branches. Aim is not to decrease the branches. हाँ, अगर मान लो कि एक रूरल एरिया में 2 RRBs की 2 branches हैं आमने सामने, opposite to each other, then one branch will be closed down. So that is an operational benefit. That will be the increase in efficiency in terms of operation. But in terms of existence, in terms of reachability, the branch is still there on the same location, catering the same set of population. Is it clear, Akash? Is it clear? I hope it's clear to you now. Chalo, moving on to the next point. सर व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स व्हिच आर रिलेटेड टू आरआरबीज जिसकी वजह से we have witnessed the mergers n number of times in the past. So the first problem is lack of capital. Lack of capital ka matlab, so the bank is not earning much profit because of their low lending rate facilities, because of their high rate of interest facility on deposits, basically to attract the weaker rural section society, weaker section from the rural sector. These banks, they are not making much profit. If they are not making much profit, that means they don't have much capital which can be invested every year in order to expand the banking operations as well as to increase the efficiency of the banking operation, which is not possible. ठीक है जी. तो लैक ऑफ कैपिटल. अब आप कहोगे कि सर अगर लैक ऑफ कैपिटल है तो गवर्नमेंट कहाँ गई? भाई गवर्नमेंट कितनी बार पैसा इन्वेस्ट करेगी? गवर्नमेंट बार बार पैसा इन्वेस्ट करती रही है सिंस इंडिपेंडेंस टिल 1991. इसीलिए तो वो हालत हुई जो 1991 में सिचुएशन आई वेयर वी वेंट टू एलपीजी, लिबरलाइजेशन, प्राइवेटाइजेशन, ग्लोबलाइजेशन. क्यों? गवर्नमेंट हैज टेकन कंट्रोल ऑफ ऑल द सेक्टर्स ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. गवर्नमेंट को लगा हम चला लेंगे सब, बट एंड ऑफ द डे लॉस, रेड टेपिज्म, करप्शन impacted the operations of these public sector owned institutes, due to which some of them were merged, some of them were closed down, some of them were privatized. तो ये सिचुएशन तो थी गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ, स्पेशली वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ जिनका एम प्रॉफिट से ज्यादा वेलफेयर था. Then we have lack of trained personnel. I would not say lack of trained personnel, I would say lack of proper रिक्रूटमेंट एंड ट्रेनिंग प्रोसीजर, जो कि पास्ट में था, आज नहीं है. आज तो थिंग्स हैव बीन रिजॉल्व्ड, बट इन द पास्ट दिस वाज वन ऑफ द रीजन. अब अगर स्किल्ड लेबर नहीं है, ट्रेन्ड स्टाफ नहीं है, ऑब्वियसली एफिशिएंसी विल बी लो. देन वी हैव हाई कॉस्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशन. So why high cost of operation? We were looking for low cost of operation. High cost of operation क्यों था? Because of the small size of their business and lack of economies of scale. तो एक तो उनका small size है business का, plus they cannot operate outside a particular state. They even cannot operate outside a particular region, that is rural area. So their major branches are only in rural area. So because of economies of scale, because of their small size of business, they were witnessing high cost of operation. Then for every decision, for every step, for everything, there is a dependence on sponsor bank, and if sponsor bank is not doing well, ultimately the RRB will not do well. अब मान लो एक बैंक है, syndicate bank. If syndicate bank itself is not doing well, it's quite obvious that its RRBs will also not perform really very well, because for every task RRBs are dependent on स्पॉन्सर बैंक ओनली. तो अगर स्पॉन्सर बैंक खुद ही कुछ अच्छा नहीं कर रहा तो वो अपने आरआरबी के लिए अच्छा क्या ही करेगा. नेक्स्ट इज पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस. दिस इज प्रीटी ट्रू इन डे टू डे ऑपरेशंस ऑफ आरआरबीज ड्यू टू द इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस इज ह्यूज, एंड ड्यू टू दिस पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस हैज लेड टू द ह्यूज losses, huge blunders in the day-to-day operations related to the RRBs. कुछ एडवांटेजेस हैं जो मैंने बहुत बार आपके साथ डिस्कस की है, मैंने एक लिस्ट में दे दी है एडवांटेजेस, बस एक बार पढ़ लेना. इफ अ क्वेश्चन इज आस्क्ड, यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू आंसर दिस. सो आई हैव हाइलाइटेड IRDP, MSP, ये कुछ टर्म्स हैं जो मैं हाईलाइट कर देता हूँ. स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज, अपॉर्चुनिटीज. उसके अलावा एक टर्म और थी दैट इज रिलेटेड टू मनी लेंडर्स एंड ट्रेडर्स. तो लास्ट में सच एज वुमेन एंड SC/STs, बस मैंने ये हाईलाइट किया. जब आपके पास ये PDF आएगी पढ़ लेना, इट्स वेरी इजी. इसलिए मैंने इसका साइज कम रखा, बिकॉज आई वोंट बी डिस्कसिंग ऑल दीज एडवांटेजेस, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी इस पे बात कर चुका हूं. बट यस, यू मस्ट हैव द नोट्स एंड आई हैव गिवन इट इन दिस फॉर्म. मूविंग टू द लास्ट पॉइंट. सो द लास्ट पॉइंट इज जहां से शुरू हुए थे, अब वहीं आ गए जहां से शुरू हुए थे. और वहां हम कहां से शुरू हुए थे? वी स्टार्टेड with this news, one state one RRB. तो ये जो one state one RRB है, it is going to be implemented from 1st of May 2025 as announced on 5th of April 2026. As per the notification, the entire amalgamation will be done under section 23A of RRB Act 1976, and these RRBs, they will merge into a single entity in public interest. Public interest means for the benefit of the public, and in the interest of the development of the area served and also in the interest of RRBs themselves. तो कोई पूछे as per the act merger of RRBs allowed? Yes sir, it is allowed under which section sir? It is allowed under section 23 of RRB Act 1976, and this time the merger is done with three motives: interest of the public, interest of the with the motive of development of rural areas, as well as in the interest of RRBs themselves. So these are the reasons due to which merger has been done. अब अगर मैं बात करूं आज की, अगर हम आज की बात करें, where we say we have 43 RRBs, हम कहते हैं ना हमारे पास 43 RRBs है, तो हमारे पास एक स्टेट है आंध्र प्रदेश। आंध्र प्रदेश में तीन RRBs है। अब ये तीनों RRBs को मर्ज करके एक सिंगल RRB बनाया जाएगा एंड वी विल कॉल इट एज आंध्र प्रदेश ग्रामीण बैंक। समझ आई ये बात? Telangana, in Telangana we have two RRBs. These two RRBs they will be merged into one RRB. Assam mein no merger will be done because they already have only one RRB. It will operate as it is. Arunachal Pradesh operate as it is. Bihar, if we say Uttar Bihar, Dakshin Bihar, these two RRBs they will be merged into one. These two RRBs will be merged into one. Then in case of Chhattisgarh, एक ही है, leave it. In case of Gujarat, we have two RRBs, they will be merged. हरियाणा एक ही है, बात खत्म. हिमाचल एक ही है, बात खत्म. झारखंड, it's fine. J&K में we have two RRBs. One is J&K Grameen Bank, other one is Dehati Bank, so they will be merged into one. Then we have Karnataka. In Karnataka also we have two RRBs which will be merged into one. Then Kerala में एक ही, it's fine. In Maharashtra we have two RRBs, it will be merged into one. Madhya Pradesh, two RRBs will be merged into one. For Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, एक है, nothing to worry. Odisha again, two RRBs will be merged into one. Punjab एक ही है, Puducherry एक ही है. Rajasthan में we have two RRBs which will be merged into one. Tamil Nadu एक, Tripura एक, कोई टेंशन नहीं. यूपी में we have 1, 2, 3. In UP we have 1, 2, 3 RRBs which will be merged into one, and then we have Uttarakhand, then we have West Bengal. और West Bengal में अगर हम बात करें तो एक, दो, तीन RRBs हैं जिनको मर्ज किया जाएगा इनटू वन। अगर आपको याद हो तो एक सेंटेंस हमने पढ़ा था स्टार्टिंग में, वो स्टार्टिंग में जो सेंटेंस था, आई जस्ट शो यू दैट, वो अच्छा था, तब मैंने उस पर बात नहीं की, बट आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस दैट पॉइंट ओवर हियर। सी व्हाट डज इट सेज? इट सेज RRBs in 11 states, RRBs in 11 states will be merged. ये देखो 15 रीजनल रूरल बैंक्स अक्रॉस 11 स्टेट्स विल बी मर्ज। तो ये जो 11 स्टेट्स हमने देखी हैं, अभी मैंने आपको लिख के भी दी थी वो 11 की 11 स्टेट्स, लेकिन अगर आपने मेरा काउंट देखा होगा तो वेस्ट बंगाल पे मैंने 12 लिखा था। रीजन 11 स्टेट्स है प्लस एक यूनियन टेरिटरी है एंड दैट इज J&K, एक यूनियन टेरिटरी है एंड दैट इज J&K। आई जस्ट शो यू ताकि आपको ये पॉइंट याद रहे। सो 1, 2, 3, 3 states, 4, 5, 6, but this is union territory. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, तो अगर यूनियन टेरिटरी हटा दे तो 11 स्टेट्स के बैंक्स को मर्ज किया जाएगा और 11 स्टेट्स के जो 15 बैंक्स हैं वो मर्ज हो जाएंगे। अगर 43 में से हम 15 माइनस करते हैं तो टोटल इज गोइंग टू बी 28। लेकिन एक पॉइंट और था, जब हम ये पढ़ रहे थे ना कि इंडिया में 43 RRBs है, वहां पे एक स्टेटमेंट लिखी थी 26 states, we have RRBs in 26 states. सर एक्चुअली हमारे पास जो नंबर ऑफ स्टेट्स है वो कितनी है? दे आर 28। अगर स्टेट्स 28 है बट वी हैव RRBs ओनली इन 26 स्टेट्स, इसका मतलब दो स्टेट्स ऐसी हैं जहां पे कोई RRB नहीं है, और वो दो स्टेट्स कौन कौन सी है सर? एक है गोवा और दूसरी है सिक्किम। गोवा और सिक्किम आर द टू स्टेट्स इन विच वी डोंट हैव RRBs। बेटा डिसाइड नहीं किया जाता, इट इज जस्ट कि सेंटर गवर्नमेंट एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट दे आर रेडी टू सेट अप RRB, they make the announcement, and if a bank is ready, bank can apply for the sponsor bank, and out of the received application the most appropriate bank is taken, or most appropriate bank will be the choice of the government. But appropriate जो word है ना, that will depend on the presence of the bank in that state, it will depend on the capital structure of the bank, it will depend on the number of branches of the bank in that particular state, it will depend on the reputation and trust of the public of that bank in that particular state. On the basis of these different parameters, the final choice is going to be made कि किसे स्पॉन्सर बैंक बनाया जाए, बट सच ये है कि स्पॉन्सर बैंक के लिए जब कॉल किया जाएगा तो उस केस में ऑब्वियसली पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स आएंगे, गवर्नमेंट ओन्ड बैंक है, गवर्नमेंट ही डिसीजन ले रही है, तो वो बात है, घर की बात है, जिसको जैसे ठीक लगेगा, जो ज्यादा जिसके लिए अप्रोप्रिएट होगा उस हिसाब से चूज कर लिया जाएगा। आई होप यू आर गेटिंग माय पॉइंट। चलो मूविंग ऑन टू द लास्ट पार्ट। सर ऑल एंटिटीज दे वुड हैव ऑथोराइज कैपिटल ऑफ 2000 करोड़। तो जो एंटिटीज बनेंगी they must have the authorized capital of 2000 crores after the consultation with stakeholders. Amalgamation of 26 RRBs in 10 states and 1 union territory has been carried out with a primary focus on the improvement in scale efficiency as well as cost rationalization. At present we have 43 RRBs जिसमें हमारे पास 26 states हैं, 2 union territories हैं. I hope you are clear with this. 26 states और 2 union territory, एक JNK और दूसरी कौन सी है, that is पुडुचेरी. और अगर हम बात करें ये 26 में गोवा और सिक्किम नहीं है, दैट इज द रीजन फॉर 28 स्टेट्स वी हैव RRBs ओनली इन 26. RRBs की जो मेजॉरिटी ब्रांचेस हैं, दे आर इन रूरल और सेमी अर्बन एरियाज. 92% ऑफ द ब्रांचेस आर इन रूरल एंड सेमी अर्बन एरियाज. उसके अलावा 2021-22 में फिस्कल was a watershed year in the context of RRB as the central government decided to infuse. तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने लगभग 5500 करोड़ रुपए इन्वेस्ट किए थे 2021-22 में over a period of 2 years, ताकि इस कैपिटल की मदद से they can push the RRB so that they can grow in the future to go. उसके बाद अगर हम परफॉर्मेंस मेट्रिक्स की बात करें, तो परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ RRBs has improved during 2023-24 which has reached a historic high on several parameters. RRB posted highest ever consolidated net profit. RRBs, they have posted highest ever consolidated net profit of 75-71 crore during 2023-24 and their consolidated capital adequacy ratio. I hope you understand. CAR, consolidated. If we calculate CAR for all the RRBs, आज जितनी RRBs है सबका कैपिटल ले लिया, टीयर 1 टीयर 2, उसके हिसाब से सब बैंक्स के लिए RWA निकाल लिया. समझ रहे हो? What I'm trying to say is we have 3 banks. इन तीनों बैंक्स को कंबाइन कर दिया, इनका कैपिटल भी कंबाइन हो गया, इनकी एसेट भी कंबाइन हो गई. कैपिटल आ गई टीयर 1 टीयर 2 एज वेल एज एडिशनल टीयर 1, वो देख ली, और यहां से हमने क्या कैलकुलेट कर लिया, वी कैलकुलेटेड द RWA, और उसके बेसिस पर जो कंसोलिडेटेड कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी रेशियो निकल के आया, विच इज नॉट बैड, दैट इज 14.2% एज ऑफ 31 मार्च 2024. लेकिन अगर हम ग्रॉस एनपीएस की बात करें, so gross NPAs, the quality measured by gross NPA at 6.1% was the lowest in the previous 10 years. मैं कह रहा हूं 6.1% बहुत ज्यादा है NPA, लेकिन that is lowest in the last 10 years. टेक्निकली देखें तो इंप्रूव हो रहा है, बट अगर हम वैल्यू ऑफ NPA देखें, that is pretty high. Center had initiated the structural consolidation, तो 196 to 43 हुआ था, 43 से कम होकर कितना हो जाएगा, that will be 28. That will be 28. 2015 में amalgamation किया गया था, जहां पे ये कहा गया था कि now RRBs they can raise capital, they can raise capital from the capital market as well as they can raise capital from the money market. लेकिन जो सेंटर गवर्नमेंट का अगर वो अपने शेयर्स बेचेंगे मार्केट में पैसा रेज करने के लिए, तो अगर आप स्टेट अपने शेयर्स को डाइल्यूट कर रहे हैं, सो इन दैट केस आल्सो द शेयर होल्डिंग ऑफ द सेंटर एंड स्पॉन्सर पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक टुगेदर कैन नॉट बी बिलो 51%. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग दिस पॉइंट. सेंटर गवर्नमेंट के पास 50%, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास 15%, स्पॉन्सर बैंक के पास 35%. नाउ like a public company, if RRBs they want to issue their shares in the market or they want to dilute their shares, for example center government wants to sell 10%, sponsor bank wants to sell 10%, that is possible, but the condition is combined shareholding of center and sponsor bank should not be below 51% after the dilution. तो आप कितना भी dilute करो, but you cannot dilute below 51%, that is the combined shareholding of whom? So that is center as well as sponsor bank. As per March 2024, 43 RRBs they are operating in the country. तो 2 यूनियन टेरिटरी है जिसके बारे में मैं ऑलरेडी बात कर चुका हूं, वन इज पुडुचेरी एंड द अदर वन इज JNK. क्लियर हो गया जी, समझ आ गया. तो न्यूज तो बड़ी छोटी थी, दैट वाज ओनली ऑन RRB, लेकिन एज ऑलवेज आई हैव प्रेजेंटेड द न्यूज इन दिस मैनर कि अब एग्जामिनर RRB से रिलेटेड कुछ भी पूछ ले, अगर आपने ये सेशन और इससे पहले वाला सेशन ऑन मास्टर डायरेक्शन which we have discussed, the master direction on RRBs, अगर वो किया होगा then you will be in a position to answer each and every question on RRBs in the upcoming RBI Grade B examination. ठीक? I hope Sakshi I have answered your question, but there was a question asked जो मैंने कहा था कि हम बाद में बात करेंगे. फेक मेल ने पूछा था सर इन दी मर्जर एम्प्लॉयमेंट का क्या होगा. इन केस ऑफ मर्जर जो करंट एम्प्लॉइज हैं दे विल बी वर्किंग एज इट इज. For example, I am employee of X Grameen Bank and now my bank is merged with Y Grameen Bank, or 3 banks have been merged into one. Then all these 3 bank employees, they will be working under a single brand name. They will be working under a new merged organization and they will be enjoying the salary benefits as it was promised at the time of their recruitment. Now the question is, so what will happen on if we talk about recruitment? Obviously, if the merger is done, recruitment is going to hamper in the starting phase. That means if the merger is done in the current year, that is 2025-26, then we can expect pretty low vacancies in next 2 years. But uske baad, once they are in flow, once everything is set, once the new structure is structuredized, then we can expect the notification for employment in the near future as it was happening earlier. Sir, RBI B FM में MCQ and descriptive में आपकी class almost. Yes, Falak, if you are following this session, you will be in a position to answer more than 70 to 80% questions in your phase 1 and finance and management finance section. चलो ठीक है जी. आकाश, आई गेस डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर हो गया. चलो बहुत बढ़िया. तो आई थिंक that will be all from my side, guys. We'll catch you in the next session. If you have enjoyed the discussion, do reply in the comment section. Even give me an answer. I have a homework for you, and this homework is bit, I would say, descriptive one. My homework is, sir, Goa and Sikkim are the 2 states where we have no RRB. But the question is why? My question is why? Find the answer. Comment your answer in the comment section below and I will be discussing the same in my next session. Don't forget to hit the like button before leaving and I will be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Bye-bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you all.